Heather Nianouris has become a good friend of mine. We met when she went through a similar situation than I did. The company I was with for 25 years decided to pull out of all its global markets. I had been their top money earner. I had tremendous financial success, but business changed, trends changed. And Heather's company went through a similar situation. And Heather's story is amazing. Heather is a mom. She was a school teacher, but she got involved in home-based business, and she earned millions of dollars working from home. She's really skilled at presentations, and I just really have grown to have so much respect for how she teaches and trains the Zinzino business opportunity. We've only been working together for a few short months, but I asked her if she could join me today and to explain to all of us why Zinzino in the world of direct selling is the best opportunity. Now, I put a team of people together. I see Dr. Natalie Cather and Stephen Chiniski on the line today. They were two dear friends of mine for over 30 years. And I asked Stephen if you could help me research different health and wellness companies. See, direct selling is a $186 billion marketplace, and yet most people are misinformed and uninformed about it. This is big business. And yet there's so many companies that are fly by night that are just, they'll come in, they have a good story, and they go away. I wanted to find something built to last. And so I put this team together. I asked my dear friend Larry Raskin, who's got 31 years experience in this industry, to help me. And we chose, without a doubt, Zinzino to be by far unequivocally the best opportunity for home-based business. So, Heather, if you could, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you. What I'd love for you to do is share with everyone why Zinzino is the best business opportunity in home business, direct selling, and probably anywhere else. So, Heather, thanks for being on today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Artie. I know you said it's just been a few short months, but here's an interesting little thing that I just noticed. My phone alerted me. It's actually almost been 1 full year since all of that happened. It's going to be a year on Monday that, like Artie said, we received the call out of nowhere, no warning, that our company had completely changed their business model. And we were left scrambling. My best friend Jamie and I did not know if we wanted to throw our hat into the ring again. But we did know that if we were going to, we had to find the right place. And that is when, through a series of just beautiful, beautiful circumstances, we were connected with Larry and with Artie, who really guided us through a lot of those next few weeks and next few months. So it's just been such a gift to get to work with them. They truly are legends in the industry. And every single day, just getting to take advantage of their mentorship has really been such a treat. So I'm so excited that you asked me to be here today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Can you see it on your end, Artie? Good? Okay, perfect. So like I said, we had to make some decisions. And before I get into the details about why Zinzino was the right choice, I want to point out that I am not here to talk anybody into anything. I really believe that my role is to help people make the smartest decision for them. Because if we're being honest, every opportunity costs something. If you say yes, it's going to cost you time and energy and focus. If you say no, it might cost you the shot at something that could really change your life. So I made myself a promise and I said I would not move forward unless an opportunity passed these 4 key questions. So first, does it solve a real problem, right? Is this meeting an actual need in the world? I was not interested in more hyper clutter. Second, is the timing right? Are we early enough to catch the momentum, not just to watch it pass? Third, is the company solid? I was not about to attach my name to a company that was going to do what had just happened to me before. I needed to know that it would be standing in 5 years, in 10 years. And then finally, can I win here, right? Not just the top 1%, but real people like all of us with real lives. Can we succeed? Now, I need you to know if even one of those had been a no, I would have walked away. But what I found were 4 very clear yeses. So over the next few minutes, I want to go over why each of those was a yes for me. And by the end, I'll turn it back over to Artie. Hopefully you will have everything you need to know to decide if this is a yes for you too. So here's the truth. The most powerful companies didn't win because they had the flashiest brand. They won because they were solving problems that nobody else was solving. They made life better for us. Airbnb, right? It turned empty homes into vacation destinations. Uber made it easier to get around. Amazon, it gave us back our time. One click and we're done. Now, none of us were asking for those things, right? But once we experience them, we'll never go back. And that is what real disruption looks like. Companies that change how we live by solving problems we didn't realize that we needed. So that is exactly what Zinzino is doing in the nutritional space. They're fixing something that's broken in the wellness world. And if you're like me, you may have been overwhelmed in the past by the wellness space because there's a supplement for everything, right? Gut health, brain health, energy, sleep, mood. But there's one thing that's missing, and that is proof. We are buying products without actually knowing what our bodies need. I have a whole cabinet of pill clutter that some lady on Instagram at some point told me I needed to buy. But I had no baseline. I had no way of tracking it. I had no idea that it was actually doing what it was supposed to do. And Zinzino came in to fix that. We've introduced a system of test-based nutrition where you don't just hope that it's actually working, you know. Now, before we dive into the problem that we're solving, I just want to give you a little lay of the land here. So Zinzino is a personalized wellness company founded in Scandinavia in 2005 by Orion and Hilda Sali. They are legendary leaders in this industry. They have built seven-figure businesses before even launching this company, and they're still building alongside us today, which says a lot about the leadership. The growth, which we'll talk about, it backs it up. They've had a 141% revenue jump since 2020, 205 million in sales last year alone. We are operational in 100 countries, and we are on track for $1 billion valuation by 2028. And yes, you can trust it. It has a triple A+ rating from Business from Home. You can't buy that. It has to be earned. And here in the United States, we are just now getting started. So I'm going to highlight some of these numbers at the end of the presentation, but I want you to see this screen up front. Before we dig into what we're doing, I want you to just look here at the stock growth. Zinzino's publicly traded on the NASDAQ First North, and their stock is up 757% over the last 5 years. That tells you something. It's not just a number, it's a signal, because it's meaning that the leadership is solid, the model works, investors see the long game. Zinzino is the kind of opportunity that people hope to find early. And like I said, here in the US, we're just getting started. So if you've been waiting for the right company, this might be your moment. What we are doing at Zinzino every single day is we're helping people stop guessing and start measuring. And that shift from hope to belief to knowing, it does something so much bigger than we realize because it changes the way people engage with their health. And when that starts to happen at scale, it opens the door to something that really is so much bigger than individual wellness. It becomes collective. And our mission is really bold. We want to inspire change in life by improving the health of our customers and the financial well-being of our brand partners. And we are doing it. We're replacing that guesswork with data and equipping people, everyday people, to create meaningful income. Because when people feel better, they earn better, they live better, and that's a ripple effect that scales. So here's how the whole process, that whole ripple gets started. It's one person, one test at a time. I want to walk you through the customer experience at Zinzino. So it begins with a simple finger prick, right? Just 2 drops of blood. Each test is registered to a private anonymous code, and that sample is then mailed to Vitas Analytical Services in Oslo, Norway. They're the global leaders in dry blood spot testing. They partner with, really prestigious institutions, Max Planck, Harvard, King's College, Cambridge. They are entirely third party, right? They're not affiliated with Zinzino. So again, they don't know if it's your first test or your 10th test. They are simply analyzing the data. While your results are processing, you're going to begin your personalized supplement routine. Again, no guesswork. It's just targeted support based on science. Now, about 15 to 20 days later, you're going to use that private anonymous code to access your results online. You're going to see exactly what your baseline is. You're going to get clear, measurable data that's easy to understand and easy to act on. Then after 120 days on the protocol, you're going to retest, not to see if it worked, but to see how well it worked. Now, you're going to see that there are other companies here and there that are trying to incorporate testing into their supplement regimens, but you know what they're not putting in? The after test. They'll give you a baseline, but they're not testing afterwards. Why? Because they're not confident the products are going to deliver the results that they want to show to you. So let's talk about what we're actually testing for and why it matters more than people even realize. So at Zinzino, we offer 3 home health tests right now, with 2 more on the way. We have an HbA1c test, a vitamin D test, and of course, our balance test. This is the test I would put into the hands of every single human on the planet if I could. It measures your omega-6 to your omega-3 ratio. This is one of the clearest indicators of chronic inflammation in the body. And chronic inflammation is the silent driver behind so many of the health issues that so many of us are facing today. But here's the thing. Most people have never heard of omega balance ratio. But I do believe that this will be one of the next biomarkers, right up there with blood pressure and cholesterol. So let's talk about these 2 essential fatty acids, specifically omega-6 and omega-3. They are both essential nutrients. Your body can't produce them, so you have to get them from food or supplements. And they're both directly tied to inflammation. So omega-6, it activates inflammation when needed. It flips the switch on in your cells. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's how our body responds to damage or to stress, but that switch is not meant to stay on, right? Omega-3 comes in and it flips that switch back off. It reduces inflammation. It tells the cell, hey, we're safe now. You can stand down. Let's begin healing. The problem is that most people today are getting flooded with omega-6 and almost no omega-3. So the switch stays on and the cell stays in defense mode. And that low-level chronic inflammation quietly starts to chip away at our health. And we often don't know until symptoms show up long after the damage began. So what is the ideal balance? Well, science shows that our bodies function best at around a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. That's the level that our ancestors maintained for thousands of years. It's what the body was designed for. At 3-to-1, your cell walls are soft and permeable. So nutrients get in, the waste gets out, the body's working the way it's supposed to. But today the average person is walking around with a ratio of 25-to-1 or higher. That is not just a little off. That is a completely different environment inside the body. So what happened? Well, in the 1960s, industrial farming, processed foods, cheap seed oils, they started to flood our food supply. And omega-6 became the dominant fat. Omega-3 all but disappeared. And when there's too much omega-6, cell walls get stiff. So the nutrients struggle to enter, the toxins can't escape, and the body stays in defense mode. Again, that inflammation builds slowly and quietly. So when I learned about this almost a year ago, my big question was, okay, well, how many people are walking around like this and we have no idea? Well, let's take a look. Zinzino has now run over 1 million omega balance tests around the world. And here's what we found. 97% of people are out of balance on their first test. That's global. In the US, it's even higher. Probably not surprised. It's 99%. But here's the part that really matters. This was like the mic drop moment for me. These numbers include people who are already taking omega-3 supplements, high quality omega-3 supplements. They're eating clean, they're doing all the right things, and they're still failing the test. I failed the test, and that was a moment of truth for me. Because if the omega-3 that I was taking actually worked, shouldn't my test have shown that? It didn't. So then, maybe the issue isn't just about taking omega-3, maybe it's about taking the right kind. And that's what I want to unpack with you next. So here's why most omega-3s are not effective. It all comes down to one word, and that is polyphenols. So during the fish oil refining process, when they're cleaning out the toxins and the mercury, they also clean out the polyphenols, right? It gets rid of the polyphenols. These are natural antioxidants that protect the omega-3s, and they get stripped away. Now, without those, the oil becomes unstable, it oxidizes, it breaks down really quickly, and then our bodies can't absorb it. So that's why people taking those good omega-3s are still failing the test. Now, Zinzino cracked the code. They found a way to get the polyphenols back in. After years of research, they discovered a rare olive from Spain And it's harvested just before ripening, and it's packed with the same polyphenols that the fish oil need to stay protected. So they combine 60% of that wild caught fish oil with 40% of that pre-harvest olive oil rich in polyphenols, and the result is an omega-3 that stays stable, it absorbs properly, and it actually reaches your cells like nature intended. But most importantly, it's proven to restore balance. Balance oil is the only omega-3 supplement in the world with clinical results showing that it actually works, because we're measuring it with those before and after dry blood spot tests. That's not marketing, that's science. Now, what does proof actually look like from the client experience? I want to show you. So these are my test results from the very beginning. On day one, I was 35-1. Now, that is not good. That is a very bad score. And I decided over the next 120 days, I was not going to change my diet one bit. The only thing that I was going to do is start taking a daily dose of balance oil. It's dosed by weight. So we have our little measuring cups lined up on the windowsill, but I wanted to see what was really happening in my body. 120 days later, I was fully in balance at 2.7-1, and I had this full comprehensive report. It wasn't just a score. It's not just a number, but it was this breakdown of what was improving and what I still needed to get right. I was sleeping better by the end. My focus was better. My joint pain had eased in my ankles. I just felt clearer. So the number told the story, but so did my body. And here's the thing, I'm not the only one, right? We see results like this every single day. I'm not going to read these to you, but people sleeping better, people feeling clearer, moving with less pain, living with more energy. So again, it's not just that number, it's something you feel. And it's real change that you can get to in as little as 120 days. Now, Zinzino is not just all about balance oil. We really have built an entire system, starting with our 3 dry blood spot tests. Then, of course, we have our balance supplements. If you're not into taking the oil, we have capsules. We have a premium version, which contains 4 times the polyphenols. And from there, we match each person with targeted immune and restorative support. For gut health, we have a fantastic supplement for brain health called Viva, made of Afrin, which is the extract from saffron. Saffron's having a moment right now. Google it when we're done, and you will see the impacts that saffron can have on the brain. A recent study showed that just 28 milligrams of saffron daily has as much effect as a low-dose antidepressant without the side effects. We also have fantastic products for skin health, like Collagen Boost. I've taken a lot of collagens, a lot. This is absolutely, hands down, unequivocally the best collagen supplement I have ever taken. I'm getting more compliments on my skin now, today at 43, than I did over the last decade. And surprise, I worked in skincare. That's what I did for 10 years. My skin looks better today on Zinzino's products using the skin serum and our Collagen Boost. I do want to pause here and say something very important. We do not just slap a label, on some generic formula like so many brands out there. We don't white label. We don't cut corners. We create our own formulas. We work with our own scientists, our own medical advisory board, some of which I see Dr. Natalie and Stephen Chernisky there, who are part of that medical advisory board. And those standards are some of the highest in the world. Every single health claim that we make is backed by the European Food Safety Authority, one of the toughest regulatory bodies out there. Our formulas are clean, without toxins or GMOs, sugar, soy, or gluten. And again, the sourcing is top tier. We have certifications from organizations like Friend of the Sea and Informed Sports, which means that even Olympians and elite athletes trust and use and represent Zinzino's products. So I just walked you through the biggest piece of the puzzle, the problem, the science, and the solution. That's really the foundation of what we do. But I want to turn your attention to something I feel is just as critical, and that's the timing, because being early really does change everything. So the research about omega balance, its links and its ties to inflammation, it's not new news. It might be new to you, it was new to me, but the studies have actually been out for decades. The public right now, though, the public is just now starting to notice. It's starting to show up in headlines, in podcasts. Doctors are beginning to talk about it. And that's what makes this moment so powerful, because Zinzino isn't following the trend. We are leading it. We are at the front. Dr. Colin Robertson, who is one of our chief science and medical advisors, he says, when we look to the left and we look to the right at what other companies are doing, it's just to see how far ahead of the game we already are, because we're already testing, we're already educating, we're already delivering results. So when this does go mainstream, and it absolutely will, Zinzino is going to be miles ahead. So this is why now matters. I want to talk to you a little bit about trend. When you combine one-of-a-kind solution like the one we have with Balance Oil and with our testing, with the perfect timing, you create something called early adopter opportunity. And if you've ever watched any major wellness trend take off, like Oura rings or fasting, cold plunges, you know the power of catching something early. All of those things were once trends that became mainstream. So right now, test-based nutrition is at the same tipping point. In order for something to officially be considered a trend, 2.5% of the population need to have an awareness of it, okay? Now in Zinzino's main markets, its first original OG markets, we aren't even at 1.5% awareness yet. They are still in pre-trend territory. In the US, we barely scratched the surface, right? We're at about 50,000 tests to date. So let me break this down for you with numbers. To hit 1.5% awareness, to get into even pre-trend territory, we need to have over 5 million tests completed. We're only at 50,000. That's $1 billion in revenue. Now, to get to that 2.5%, we would need to be official trend status. We would need 8.2 million tests. So yes, this is early, right? We're testing for that next big biomarker before most people even realize it exists. So I want to move on to the next question. Is the company solid? Because, the opportunity that is in front of you, it really only is as good as the engine behind it. So you want to know, is this a stable company with staying power? Is the model working? Here I was looking for infrastructure, scalability, and timing. And what I found with Zinzino was so rare, because here we had this publicly traded company that had already built out the system that most brands are still trying to figure out. But then I saw this growth curve, right? This is momentum. 33% average growth per year, over 60% last year. But to me, what makes this so powerful, it's not just the numbers, it's where we are on this curve, right? Still early, but not unproven. From here, it's going to scale, and it's going to scale very, very fast, right? We have 1 million customers now. We're looking at 20 million by 2035, 100 million by 2050. So if you have ever been one of those people who's like, you know what, man, I wish I would have gotten in earlier. This is earlier. Right now, today, we are sitting in earlier. But this time, you know what you're looking at. And I showed you this at the beginning, but this is one thing that really, really sealed it for me, are these numbers. So I want to zoom in here for a moment, because I've been in this industry for about 12 years, and I've never seen a company with this kind of growth and this kind of financial discipline. So we are on track to hit 269 million in revenue, which is up 31% from last year alone. And that kind of growth really got my attention. But here's something interesting. They are doing it without debt, right? 41 million in reserves, which is up 11 million from last year. That is smart growth with margin to scale and margin to innovate. But the standout stat for me is the gross profit and the operating profit. Both of those figures are up 59% from last year. And if you've ever run a business, you know that combination of growth and profitability, it's rare. It's very rare. And it's practically unheard of in a company that is still in expansion mode like Zinzino. Which leads us to our last question. Can I win here? Does this actually pay? Yes, we're going to talk about how. So there are two main ways to earn with the Zinzino compensation plan. We have a customer plan and a partner plan. You don't choose one or the other, right? You can tap into both. But I want to start with the customer plan for a moment, because if you just want to share the Zinzino products, earn from customer orders, this is exactly how it works. So you get a free online store right here, website. As soon as you sign up, this baby is up and running, ready to go within just a couple minutes. You can earn 10 to 30% on your customer orders. And it's as easy as creating a shopping cart for them and sharing a link. I'm obsessed with that feature with Zinzino. The more customers you serve, the higher that payout percentage is. But it gets better. So there are monthly customer bonuses as your customer base grows. For instance, when you reach 100 customers, you earn a one-time $11,500 bonus on top of your monthly pay. And for some people, that's exactly what they're looking for, right? Simple, sustainable income and to help people get healthier. But for others, those who want to build a team and grow something big and unlock serious scalability, that's where the partner plan comes in. So let's take a look at that next. So I'm going to paint the bigger picture for you. You start just like before with that online store. You're sharing products through that link, but then you introduce a few people who want to do the same thing. They see the vision here. They want to become partners. So they start building their customer base and their own momentum. And what happens? They bring in a few more partners. Now you've got something bigger than effort. You have duplication, right? And you're not just earning on what you do, you're earning on what duplicates. This is just a small example. Imagine if this showed hundreds of customers and hundreds of partners. On our team, we have thousands of customers, people with 200, 300, 400 products going out each month to people on subscription. And because Zinzino uses a binary compensation plan, you, with your online store, you get to override all of that volume. It flows up through your structure. You're paid weekly, like clockwork. There is no other industry that I know of that could let normal people like you and me compress a 30-year career into under 5. I'm living proof of that. I know several people on here are living proof of that, but that's the power of leveraged income. And once that starts to build, it gets really exciting really fast. So what does earning look like when you build a team? Let's just break it down. As a partner, you unlock multiple income streams as your organization grows. Now, the biggest one is that you can earn 10 to 15% on your network of online stores. And as the business expands, so do the rewards. So you can earn one-time title bonuses, some as high as $120,000. Along the way, you can also pick up customer growth bonuses, mentor matching bonuses on what your personally enrolled sponsors earn. You can even earn volume commissions on your total team sales once you reach certain levels in the pay plan. But it doesn't stop there. They add in a lot of fun extras. There is a monthly phone bonus, a $1,150 a month car bonus, luxury incentive trips. I get to go to Bali in March with Zinzino, and even company stock when you reach some of those top ranks. Let me say that again, company stock. You saw 757% growth. I want to hit those titles because I want as much of that Zinzino stock as I can possibly get. But this is where leveraged income really meets that lifestyle reward. In a lot of other companies, to go on a trip to Bali or Greece or all of these fantastic places, you have to be at the tippy top. At Zinzino, it's not the case. It's not the case. To earn that trip, it's actually right there in the middle of the pay plan, which I think is just so fantastic because it really encourages people to run for something. So I am going to end here. I'm going to turn it over to Artie, who's going to talk you through more about getting started and what that process looks like. But I do have one final thought to share with you. 12 years ago, I sat in a presentation just like this, and I was wondering if I should take the leap. I had no idea what I was doing. I had never sold a thing besides Girl Scout cookies in my life, but I said yes. And that yes changed everything for me. It changed our family's entire life. It opened doors I didn't even know were closed, and it gave us a life of options. It gave me time to be home with my kids as they grew up when they were little. And so now here we are again, right? But this time it is even bigger because no one else is doing what Zinzino is doing. And what I'm going to build here, what we are all going to build here, it's the legacy play. It's going to make what I did last time feel like the dress rehearsal. So if something in you is saying yes, or even maybe, I really encourage you to open that door.